Dude, Tesla prices have dropped again. Just this past weekend of April 7th, Tesla slashed the prices of all their models across the entire range again. And they slashed 5K off the Model S and Model X. This is actually the fourth time Tesla has lowered the prices of their vehicles in the past 4 months. Now, it may seem like a good thing on the surface. Why complain about lower prices, especially when everyone, including myself, have been complaining about higher prices and markups the past few months? I mean, this sounds really good for a new car buyer, especially one that's purchasing an EV. We know that the EVs in general have been overpriced for some time, and it can seem like a welcome thing to have prices of vehicles drop for a change rather than increase. And it definitely sounds better than having excessive dealer markups like what's been happening in the past few years in the mainstream ICE market. But will this have an overall negative effect on Tesla's image and EV ownership in general? Here's why I make the argument that it could. See, a new vehicle is typically a person's second largest purchase at any given point in their life, second only to a home. But when you buy a new vehicle, I know it's not supposed to be considered an investment, but it's a depreciating asset still that we almost all have to have in most cases, especially in developed countries. This is not a boat or an RV. You need this for transportation. So when you buy a new vehicle, savvy purchasers look at and expect a certain depreciation curve. Part of Tesla's image for the past few years has been a somewhat predictable depreciation curve. Maybe the first year you expect to lose 15% of its value, followed by 10% the next year, and then 5% each year thereafter. Depending, of course, on the miles. It was trending somewhere around 30 to 35% depreciation at the 3-year mark for a typical Tesla the past few years, even before COVID. This perceived image of low depreciation risk may have drawn many people to consider Tesla over the competition, especially when considering EVs. But when you look at Tesla, what they've been doing lately, especially with the Model X and the Model S, people that purchased these vehicles as recent as a few months ago, back in December of 2022, are seeing a 40% drop in the value of their purchase. And if you purchased a Model S or X Plaid with no options at all, just a few months ago, you had to pay well over 136 grand plus tax. And if you had just a few options, it was well above 140 grand. But now you can get that same vehicle starting at under 105 grand. That's a $35,000 drop in a matter of months. But that doesn't mean you just lost 35K in value. You actually lost about 50K or more in value in a matter of a few months because yours is used and it's last year's model. So the longer you have it, you may be looking at well over a 50% drop in value in a matter of only a year. Now you might say, well, boo-hoo, cry me a river, but I don't know if people are going to be willing to purchase what is essentially an unchanged, decade-old design, especially with the Model S, when there is a risk that you could lose about 50% of its value in just under a year or so. And you might be well underwater on your loan when you need to sell it. So people may have pause when purchasing a new Tesla. Now, I owned a Plaid for about 6 months and I put 5K miles on it and I had a lot of fun with it and I even took it to the drag strip. But I kind of saw this coming early last year and I ended up dumping it for a small profit, expecting that I could buy one a year later at a discount, especially a used one. But I never expected them to tank this much. A friend of mine lost 45 grand when he sold his Plaid just 3 months ago, right before the second price decrease. He hardly had it for even a year and it had 10K miles on it. And if he would have waited even a few more months after, he would have lost another 20 grand on it. I mean, we're talking about $60,000 loss on this vehicle because he paid close to 150K when Tesla was selling it at its peak last year. Try to wrap your head around that for a moment. we're talking $50,000 to $60,000 drop in value. That is a McLaren depreciation on a $400,000 car. This is just a Tesla. I'd be concerned if I was in the market for a new X or S and I saw this happening. I mean, the Plaid is great at 105,000, but I don't blame anyone for wanting to reconsider picking one up brand new, even at that price, knowing that Tesla could just drop the price of it in a month, a week, tomorrow. People are more careful with their money these days. Interest rates are high, and we don't know how the market's going to be doing. So, knowing that Tesla could drop the price of this vehicle, 10K at any given point in time, it would deter them from plopping the cash down on a new one. Now, I want to buy another one eventually. They are faster than almost anything out there, and I'm not knocking it for its performance, but I'm not willing to lose 40-50% of its value in a year of ownership, especially when Tesla drops the 4680 version of it next month or next year, who knows. So what could Tesla do to mitigate the problems of not hurting recent customers when they slash the prices of their vehicles out of nowhere? Well, it's actually pretty simple, and it wouldn't even cost them anything. They could just offer those that purchased a vehicle within the past few months free advanced autopilot or even FSD for a year. Plaid owners should get full FSD for the life of the vehicle because of its expensive purchase. And if you already have FSD, offer FSD on a future vehicle, free FSD on your next car. To you, it's a $15,000 option that was gifted to you for brand loyalty. To Tesla, it costs them nothing. It's just a software update. They just flip a switch. You now have FSD. And in return, they now have a customer for life. And people won't be afraid of taking the plunge on these expensive vehicles if they know that the company will make good on making things right in the future if they suddenly drop the price in the next couple months. This is not a $1,000 television set. This is not supposed to be treated like an appliance. You can't just suddenly discount these vehicles 20% at a drop of a hat. People need to feel safe with these large purchases, and I think that offering something like free FSD can help give them a sense that the company actually cares. Because if I lost $50K in value in 6 months on a Plaid, I don't know if I'd ever want to buy another Tesla again. I do plan on buying another one myself, but it will likely just be a used one. And Tesla doesn't make any money on used vehicles. So with all that said, let me know what you think about that below, and be nice about your comments. If you don't want to see any future videos from me, don't subscribe, don't comment. If you'd like to, send me a question or two in the comments below, and I'll see if I can answer them next time. And if you're trying to purchase a new car at a fair price, check out my free 2-part training video in the link below. Also, check out my draggy video of me doing a 1/4 mile in my Plaid. So with that said, why don't you make like a tree and get out of here?